Hello, 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 my loves. As always, I hope that this live or this replay finds you well and in excellent spirits. Happy Monday, and welcome to another edition of the weekly Astro Forecast live here in the Astro Room on YouTube. I am your host and your favorite astrologer, Mel of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So if this is our first time meeting, welcome. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. So this channel is everything astrology, spirituality, and manifestation. So if those are the things you like, if those are the things you love, or if those are the things you want to learn more about, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so you'll always be notified when I come out with new content. All right, my loves. So this is the weekly astro forecast for the week of August 18th through August 24th, 2025. All right, so I hope y'all are starting your week out okay. We're about to enter the best season of the year, if I say so myself. This week, the sun is changing signs and it will be moving into the sign of Virgo. All right, so no shade to Leo. I actually really love Leo season, right? It's the quintessential summer energy, right? It's we outside, we're playing, we're entertaining, we're having fun. And then some people, I feel like this is the time of year where they either really hate it or they love it. I know me, by the time I get to August, especially because I live in Florida and August in Florida is like a swamp, right? By the time I get to August, I'm over it. Like I'm over the summer. I'm ready to, well, it doesn't get that much cooler here, but definitely when I was living in New York, it was like, all right, I'm ready for the cooler weather. I'm ready for fall, ready for all of that stuff, right? Or you could be of the camp that's like, I want it to be summer forever. I don't want to have to go back to work or back to school or back to our regularly scheduled programming. But either way, Virgo season is upon us and it serves a very important purpose, right? All of the zodiac signs serve a very important purpose. When we're talking about Virgo, particularly this Virgo season, it is all about a reset. Like, I don't know about you, right? But I know I was actually having this conversation with my sister the other day, and I was telling her about how I feel like this summer has been like a black hole. Like I'm looking back, like through my texts, and I'm looking back at texts that I wrote in like early June, and I'm like, I don't even know what happened between June and now. It's like time doesn't exist. It felt really weird, if I'm being honest. And Virgo season allows us to get back on track. So typically during the summer, unless you're like super disciplined, right? Like your diet goes off the rails. You don't necessarily have the same schedule, especially if you're a parent. The kids are out of school. So, how you sort of formulate your days changes, right? And then Virgo season comes around and it's like, all right, back to reality, back to square, let me not say square one, but back to our regularly scheduled programming. And this Virgo season is no exception. As a matter of fact, this Virgo season is a little bit of a different flavor because we've got other things going on that'll make it feel perhaps a little grander or perhaps a little more arduous, just a little bit. But either way, we are getting ready for a reset. So get ready. It's good, right? Here's the thing, it's like, when you have to clean, and I'm not just talking about tidying up. I'm talking about like you need to do a deep clean. You need to really, perhaps, summertime, we just throw caution to the wind and we just don't do much of anything sometimes. So maybe your space, your office, your bedroom, your kitchen isn't necessarily looking its best, right? Virgo season is like, all right, we're going to break out the rubber gloves, the mop, the Swiffer, every single cleaning product you could ever have or want, and we're about to get to work, right? And of course, the task itself feels really daunting. You don't want to have to do this deep clean. You don't want to have to organize because there may be so much to organize or things are really messy. But think about how you feel. And this is a feeling that I absolutely love. And perhaps it's because I'm a Virgo sun. But that feeling of, okay, you've cleaned top to bottom, sheets clean, towels clean, clothes are clean, they're put away. You take that shower, you put on your clothes, and you get into bed, right? Knowing that the house is clean, you've got a beautiful candle burning, like that feeling is unmatched. And that's exactly what Virgo has to offer, among other things. So we begin this journey into Virgo season this week. So this is sort of, for some, especially down here, because school has already started down here, even though I feel like we're still very much in the throes of summer. But for some, this is kind of the last hurrah. Get get as much as that of that Leo season energy as you can, because we will be transitioning this week. All right, but before we get into the details of what you can expect for the week and beyond, let's talk about housekeeping and announcements. So, if you are joining me here on the live this evening, thank you so much. I sincerely appreciate you. Don't forget to say hi on your way in. Hit that like button and tell me, where is Virgo in your natal chart? All right. And if you're watching this on the replay, I appreciate you just as much. Hopefully, you get the clarity, confirmation, illumination, enlightenment, whatever you're looking for with this broadcast. I sincerely hope that you find it. And if that's the case, hit that like button, subscribe button, and notification bell, please. And thank you. All right. So I want you guys to keep an eye on the channel this week because there's a lot going on. So I'm so excited because I did a collab video with another amazing astrologer. Her channel is called Soul to Soul by Goddess. And we have broken down the lunar and the solar eclipses for you now so that you can get ready. So, spoiler alert, eclipse season is in September, which is right around the corner, right? And eclipse season can be really erratic. There's a lot going on. And so we've got you covered. We created these really two great videos, the first of which dropped today on her channel. The link will be in the description box below. And later on in the week, probably on Friday, the solar eclipse video will drop on my channel. All right. So pay attention, set notifications here, visit her channel, subscribe, peruse. She's got a lot of great videos, and we're really excited to be bringing this information to you at a time where it is so, so necessary. So definitely look out for all of that. All right. So hello. Okay, Virgo sun. I know that's right. It's about to be our season. So to all my Virgo suns, if you want, share what you intend for a Virgo season. You know, whenever it's your solar return season, it is like your personal new year. So it's a time to set new intentions. It's a time to change up your looks. It's a time the slate is kind of wiped clean, and so you can start again. So it's all my Virgo sons. What do you have planned, not only for your solar return, but for your season? If you want to share that, let me know, whether it's in the chat or in the comments below. So, in terms of announcements, another important announcement is that I have shifted my YouTube channel membership. All right. So, it's no longer here on YouTube, it is in my private community, Cosmic Collective. Okay. And so, over there, you will find exclusive members only videos. You will find weekly posts and articles. There are monthly members only exclusive live streams. Plus, you get so much more, including a community of like minded astrology enthusiasts who want to learn and integrate astrology into their everyday lives. So, that is where the party is right now. So, if you want to join and you're watching right now and actually paying attention, you can scan the QR code on the screen. If not, if you're listening, if you're driving, if you can't, or if you're literally on your phone right now, the link will be in the description box below. So it's $11 a month. It's chock full of so much stuff. And again, it's replacing my YouTube membership. So that's where the party is at. If you're interested, scan the QR code on the screen or check out the link in the description box below. I really hope to see you over there. So much great stuff lives offline. Well, let me not say offline, it's still online, but just off of the YouTube channel. So scan the QR code, hit the link in the description box, and come and join us over there. All right. And if you have not gotten a natal chart reading from me, what are you even doing? It's time. It's definitely time for you to get a natal chart reading. I'm not just saying it because I'm the one who's giving it, but these are truly exceptional because it may differ from other natal chart readings because this isn't just oh, let me tell you what house Mars is in and whatnot. This is actionable steps based on your particular natal chart for you to move forward, right? This is taking your natal chart and turning it into a living, breathing thing, all right? So it is a 60-minute Zoom virtual reading where I go through your entire natal chart. Plus, I give you actionable steps and a lot of other goodies. Like, you definitely, again, if you haven't gotten a natal chart reading from me, now is definitely the time. So, again, scan the QR code that's on your screen right now, or hit the description box for the link to schedule a reading. It truly is exceptional. And in these times, if you don't know your natal chart, it's going to get really difficult. And I say that because the way that the world is going and the way that the frequency of the earth is evolving, right, and raising, there's a spiritual approach to everything. And your natal chart is literally you, it is your blueprint. Don't you want to know yourself? Don't you want to know what you're designed to do? Don't you want to know more about your life? Your natal chart will tell all of that to you. And so will I in my natal chart reading called the starter chart. All right. So scan the QR code, hit the link in the description box below, and get your life. All right. All right. So that's it by way of announcements for this week. So let's get into it and let's talk about this week. And like I said, the major star of the show is the sign of Virgo, right? Because we not only have the sun moving into the sign of Virgo, we also have a new moon in the sign of Virgo, which is not only a pretty big deal, but it is the gateway to eclipse season. And I will talk about that in a second. But before we get into the details, of course, I had to come up with a cute and concise theme, right? And so the theme for this week is ritual, reset, and rebellion. Okay, so we are entering Virgo season on a pretty strong note given the astrology that we have going on. All right, so excuse me, if you are unfamiliar with the sign of Virgo, Virgo is the sign of service. It is perfectionist. Some people may call it annoying because Virgo is perfect, right? Virgo's job, every zodiac sign has a job, and Virgo's job is to perfect things. And perfection is like improvement, right? So Virgo is constantly concerned with improving, getting better, honing in on their craft, and being of service. And part of that Virgo energy signature is ritual. Now, being an earth sign, Virgo is very practical. It has a lot to do with our everyday lives, right? But in the action of perfection is very ritualistic, right? There are certain things and processes that need to be followed. Perhaps there are certain things that need to be done repeatedly on a daily basis, right? That is the realm of Virgo, right? And so when it comes to Virgo season, I always equate it to our habits, right? And our habits are something that we're either very conscious of or not conscious of at all, right? Because something is habitual, it could be second nature to you, right? It's something that you do without thinking, it's something that you do regularly. It's so ingrained in your daily life that it doesn't stand out at all. However, when something in your life is amiss, when something isn't going right, when something should be working, but it isn't, oftentimes, it can be a sign of a habit that needs tweaking or a habit that needs eliminating and replacement with another habit. And Virgo season is perfect for that, right? Perfect example. It's been summer. You may have been eating with reckless abandonment, right? You've been eating ice cream, pizza, you've been drinking, going out, not sleeping well, like all the things. You've really been outside this summer, right? Virgo season is like, all right, rein it back in. We're going to cut our carbs. We're going to hydrate more. We're going to get back into our skincare routine. We're going to, eat better. We're going to stop eating after 7 p.m., right? Like Virgo is about reestablishing habits so that you can reach perfection, right? And so that's exactly what this season, Virgo season, is really all about. So then the second part of that is reset. Now, that pretty much speaks to what I was just saying before. However, taking it a step further, this upcoming new moon in Virgo is really a reset. Now, I've been tracking astrology for a long time, and I cannot remember the last time that a new moon, or a full moon for that matter, was at 0 degrees. And that's exactly where this new moon in Virgo is happening, 0 degrees. If that's not a reset, I don't know what is, right? And if we're talking about our habits, if we're talking about our daily routine, it's like this new moon is like, listen, the slate is really literally wiped clean. Now, what are you going to do? How are you going to perfect your life? Or at least, how are you going to perfect the area of life that Virgo rules in your natal chart, right? So we have a really interesting opportunity this coming weekend to completely reset. I was also talking to my sister the other day, and I was talking about how lately on YouTube, like when I'm watching YouTube, what has come up on my feed has been weekly reset videos. And this is typically just videos of women who are like cleaning their home, budgeting, content creation for the week. It's like their weekly reset, right? And I love how the algorithm reflects my relationship with spirit, because spirit will always give me what I need at the right time. And spirit is like, all right, this is really reset season. So I'm going to show this to you on loop repeatedly everywhere you go so that you get it, so that you get into that vibe, so that you get into that frequency, so that you can really take advantage of the energy. So leading up to Virgo season, which begins on Friday, this is sort of the mindset that you're going to want to have, right? Like, what reset do I need in my life? Where is Virgo in my natal chart? And again, if you haven't gotten a natal chart reading, now is definitely the time. Definitely the time. So scan the QR code, or link is in the description box below, right? But wherever Virgo is in your natal chart, this is the area of life where you get a reset, where you get to clean up, organize, and get prepared to move forward and get prepared to make the rest of the year successful, perhaps, right? Like the new year, new me that January always brings really starts, I want to say, in Virgo season, when we start preparing and when we really start thinking about and planning for next year. If you're like me, maybe you don't think about January 1st until January 3rd, right? But it's like, it always reminds me of that phrase, summer bodies are made in the winter, and how that preparation takes months before the actual execution, right? And I feel like that's the vibe I'm getting with Virgo season, specifically this one. All right, so let's get into the astrology that is very pertinent for this week. And of course, the first is the sun entering Virgo. I don't think I need to talk too much about that. Um, Again, habits, 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 habits. What habits do you exhibit? What habits make up your daily life? Virgo season, again, is going to allow you to really focus on that and fine tune that. All right. And align your habits with your healing, because here's the sort of understated energy concerning Virgo, is that it's very healing on a practical level, right? It's that perfection is actually part of the healing process for Virgo. It's improvement, it's amelioration, right? And so when you align your habits with this healing energy, this amelioration, that's when you really make change. That's when you really, and this change isn't something that's like transformative, like let's say Scorpio energy. This change is something that you can readily see, that's very tangible, that you see in your everyday life almost immediately, right? That's the purpose, okay? So focus on rituals, routines, scheduling, boundaries, and wellness, right? One of the other hallmarks of Virgo energy is that it's concerned with wellness. Typically, now they say this as sort of the archetype of Virgo, is that Virgo tends to be pretty health conscious, fit, very much into physical wellness and physical health. That's true to a certain extent, but I'm not gonna lie. I know plenty of Virgos that are not into wellness at all, but it also depends on what else is in your chart. But those are sort of the hallmark qualities of Virgo that clearly are activated and come to the surface in the forefront when the sun moves into the sign of Virgo. Okay. Set intentions around your body, business, and sacred systems. Okay. Again, that ritualistic nature of Virgo also speaks to systems, right? When I think about that, like as I'm thinking about that right now, I'm thinking about like running a household, right? And how, the kitchen would be sort of the battleground or the headquarters for everything, right? And then on the fridge, you've got dry erase board with who needs to be picked up when, what after school activities need to be done, what's for dinner this week, right? Like it's this system that helps things flow, right? The system that keeps things going on a daily basis. These are the things that we focus on when the sun is in Virgo, okay? And reconnect to your why through what you do daily, okay? So, why are you doing something? Why is this a habit? Like I said before, oftentimes our habits are, we're so not conscious of them because they're second nature to us. We do them, robotically almost. And maybe the why behind your habits or your rituals has changed, but the execution of it has not. And Virgo season can really bring your attention to that in a good way so that maybe your actions can now really reflect your motivations as opposed to just doing things just to do them. Because Virgo, if we're talking about sort of the negative qualities of Virgo, Virgo can be busy work, right? Just work, nitpicking kind of little things, doing little things that don't necessarily move the needle. And so that's what we want to stay away from during this Virgo season. Like, don't just be doing things just to do them. Or perhaps you've been doing something for a long time, but it just doesn't make sense anymore, perhaps with what you're doing or what you're trying to do in the future. So reevaluate your why, especially as it pertains to your habits, and make adjustments as necessary. Okay. So that's the first thing. Then the second thing we have is this new moon in Virgo. So Virgo season starts on August 22nd, which is Friday. And then immediately on Saturday, we have the new moon in Virgo. Okay. And so, like I said, this is happening at 0 degrees of Virgo, which I find so fascinating because it's very rare that you really see planets at the 0 degree. But this is the 0 degree is like the quintessential degree of that sign. Like it's the natural, pure Virgo energy, 0 degrees of Virgo, I mean, right? So plant seeds of discipline that support your becoming. So, new moons are all about setting new intentions and planting new seeds. And these are seeds of perfection. And when I say perfection, I don't mean, oh, this has to be perfect. I mean improving. Virgo wants to improve. And so, with this new moon, especially wherever Virgo is in your natal chart, this is an area of life where you can really improve upon something, maybe structure something differently. Virgo is also great at bringing order from chaos. It's like how you'll have a room full of clothes, shoes, junk, whatever. Virgo is like Marie Kondo, right? She comes in with her bins and her little containers. Everything has a place. Everything gets compartmentalized. Everything gets categorized, right? And then you discard what you no longer need, or in her case, what no longer brings you joy, right? This is what this new moon in Virgo has to offer. So it's going to require a little bit of work on your part, right? It's going to require you to sort of roll up your sleeves and get to work and clean up. But again, I want you to remember what I said before. Remember how it feels to get into a clean bed with clean sheets. The house is clean. You've got a beautiful candle that's burning and that smells really good. And that feeling of satisfaction and accomplishment from cleaning and the peace of mind that goes with everything sort of being in its place or everything running as it should. This is what this new moon in Virgo wants to give you. This is the energy that you have to work with. And keep in mind that whatever we do at this new moon in Virgo, We can likely see the culmination of it at the full moon in Virgo come March. So it's not to say that this is just something that you do at the new moon and then that's it. Especially if it's something like, let's say you've got Virgo as your 10th house, which is your house of career. And maybe you're trying to get your business together, you're trying to get your career together, you're trying to make certain moves. That's something that takes time. It requires a certain discipline, number one. It requires a certain systematic approach, perhaps, to moving up the corporate ladder or to getting your business books in order or a marketing plan or strategy in place, right? These are things that take some time, but they also take ritual, and the ritual is the habits that you have or that you execute on every day, right? So it could be a slow burn, whatever you intend and start working on at this new moon in Virgo. But either way, it is a reset and a beautiful one at that. Okay. So use it as such, right? So, again, planting new seeds and setting new intentions. And it's interesting because if we're talking about rituals, right? One of the rituals that I typically refer to people, especially when we have a new moon in like an earth sign, right? Is to plant a physical seed, right? Like find your favorite flower, vegetable, whatever it is, find the seeds and actually plant it. Now, this doesn't have to be a whole big thing. However, it's really more an exercise in discipline. Clearly, you have to tend to this thing on a regular basis. Now, regular really depends on the type of seed it is, right? But there is a certain regular ritual of tending to your seeds and your plants that you would have to undergo, right? So it's an exercise in discipline, it's an exercise in habit forming, right? Perhaps when you wake up every morning, as you make your coffee, you water your plants. Maybe when you come home in the evening before you wind down, you like prune the leaves. Like again, it's a habitual kind of thing. But also, most importantly, with this new one in Virgo, clean the fuck up. Depending on where this is happening, especially if you've got like Virgo in your fourth house or Virgo is your fourth house, your house of home, clean up. Clean up your desk, clean up your mind, clean up your body. Maybe it's time for a detox, right? It all depends on wherever Virgo is in your natal chart. This is where this is all going down, right? So it's a great new moon to create a new workflow, a new meal plan, spiritual routine, or content calendar, right? Anything that is regular, anything that will require some sort of regularity, it's great to plant those seeds at this new moon. Okay. And so use it as such. Remember, this is happening at the 0 degree. This is ground zero, the starting point. And this could launch you into something new, something that you want, something that you desire, if you're willing to adopt the appropriate habits, right? And the appropriate rituals. So that's definitely something to look forward to. And that is happening on Saturday, right? And then finally, for the week of importance is the fact that we've got Sun square Uranus, which is happening on Sunday. So at this point, the Sun will have just gone into Virgo and Uranus will be in Gemini. And whenever we have a square in astrology, it denotes tension or frustration. Now, the way that this could work, and I laugh because both Virgo and Gemini are ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is such an interesting planet. The energy of Mercury is very interesting in the fact that it can be a trickster, it can be very intellectual, very chatty, very all over the place, very youthful. But the way that this particular transit might work is that, all right, so you've taken heed to my message, and perhaps over the weekend, you are really getting into some cleaning and you are organizing and doing all the things. And then under this transit, Sun square Uranus, it's like your mind, it's like you can't sit still. It's like you've got ants in your pants. It's like you are distracted. You trying to clean. This is when everyone wants to call you. Everyone wants to come over. You've got a million and one ideas. Like, let's say you're just trying to get your work desk together. As you're looking through papers, you're just like, oh, but I could do this. I could do that. I could, and before you know it, you're either like on overload mentally, and so you don't get anything done, or you've got like analysis paralysis and you still don't get anything done, right? So there's going to be this mental factor that this particular transit is going to create that, again, could have you feeling like you've got ants in your pants, or your mind is going a mile a minute, and it's sort of frustrating whatever you're trying to do, particularly if you're trying to get organized, if you're trying to structure. You know what, this is the perfect, oh, I love this example. This is the perfect example. You're meditating and your mind won't shut the fuck up. That's what this transit feels like. Again, it is like you're meditating, you're in you're just in that place, in that zone, you're really going for it, and then boom, your mind won't shut the fuck up. You're thinking about all these random things, the phone is ringing, there's distractions. Like, that's kind of what this particular transit could feel like. But on the flip side, this could also be a transit that brings sparks of insight, right? It could really get you to see something perhaps that you haven't seen before. It could really jolt you mentally to start new habits, right? Sometimes distractions can be good because they expose you to something. And that's kind of what this transit feels like. It feels like, oh, I'm focused on cleaning, organizing, compartmentalizing, but I'm watching this YouTube video and it's sparking this idea, right? Oh, there's this supplement that's really good for bone density. I know I sound like an elderly person, but trust me, bone density is a really important thing. But, oh, so maybe I should implement that into my vitamin regimen. Oh, and as a matter of fact, why don't I look up some exercises that are great for low bone density, or if I want to strengthen muscles, and use that in conjunction with this supplement? Like, you see how I've already gone on a tangent and I've forgotten what I was actually doing? Yeah, that's how this particular transit can transpire, which is not a bad thing. You just got to be able to harness it, right? Not all distractions are going to be worth your attention. And don't lose sight of what you are doing, right? If you are working on something, if you're organizing something, if you're cleaning some shit up, don't leave it. Don't throw it out. Don't, let me not say that. Don't finish what you started. Let's say that, right? Because this particular transit could have you starting something and not finishing, and going off on a tangent and doing all the things. But like I said, it could really foster some really bright ideas. It could really show you a new way to organize and structure and become efficient, right? So those are all up for grabs when it comes to that particular transit. It should be interesting. Okay. And whenever you have Uranus in the mix, it's like expect the unexpected. So it could be a distraction that's completely unexpected, right? In terms of a telephone call, email, text message, DM. It could be a conversation. It could be a random meetup with friends. It could be something on the internet, right? Expect the unexpected in perhaps not the best way possible, but in a way that could be enlightening, or at least helpful at the very least. Let's see what else we have. It says stay grounded, but don't resist the reset. So, yes, focus on what you're doing. But again, perhaps there's a distraction that you need that could be immediately helpful to what you're doing. Watch for control issues or perfectionism that can't bend. If something breaks, ask what it's trying to free you from. Ooh, that's a good one. If something breaks, ask what it's trying to free you from. Think about that. Oftentimes when something breaks, especially like if we're cleaning and we knock something over and it breaks and we're just like, damn, like your first instinct is to be mad or sad because the thing is broken. But maybe it needed to break. Maybe it needed to break for a variety of reasons, to jog your memory, to free you from something. That's a really important point. I like that. Don't panic, pivot. This is a transit of flexibility. Okay. So it's really important that whatever does happen, you kind of go with the flow and be ready to pivot at a moment's notice. Because again, while you may be distracted, it could be a distraction that's really helpful and it may require you to make some quick moves or anything like that. So keep that in mind. Stay flexible and adaptable. All right, my love. So that's pretty much all I got for you for the astrology for the week. All right. So again, pay attention to the channel this week. I'm dropping not only two collab videos with Soul to Soul by Goddess on the lunar eclipse in Pisces and the solar eclipse in Virgo. But also, either tomorrow or Wednesday, I'm going to be dropping a video on the new moon in Virgo, which I just spoke about, right? And if you want to know what you can expect with not only this new moon in Virgo, but every moon series for your particular sign, then you're going to want to sign up for Cosmic Collective, where all of my exclusive members only and sign specific videos live. All right. So, again, YouTube channel membership, that's done with. Everything has been moved over to Cosmic Collective. Scan the QR code on the screen or hit up the link in the description box below. All right. So, like I said, that's all I pretty much got for you for this week. And so we reached the part of the broadcast for Q&A. So if you have questions regarding the astrology for the week or astrology in general, this is your time to answer. However, I will not be answering specific questions related to your natal chart. You already know what to do when it comes to that. All right. And while you're thinking of your questions or getting them ready, I have a question for you. So the question for this week is, what ritual or routine are you ready to start this Virgo season? So screenshot this. This is the question for the week. And remember, Virgo season starts at the end of the week. So leading up to that, as we say goodbye to Leo, it's really about what are we trying to reset at this time? And again, this is all happening in the sign of Virgo. So take a look at where Virgo is in your natal chart. And this is where you can experience a really great reset in your life beginning this week. All right. So again, what ritual or routine are you ready to start this Virgo season? All right. So that's the question for the week. I don't see any questions in the chat. So Raven says manifesting. Okay. So that is your intention for Virgo season. I got you. Yes. Same. Definitely same. All right, I don't see any questions. So with that, that concludes this week's weekly astro forecast. I sincerely hope that you were able to get at least one important piece of information that you can use going into this week and beyond. You know the deal. Whatever is important for you to know will be in the description box below. All right, my loves, thank you so much for tuning in. Have an amazing week, and I'll see you same time, same place, same great information. Take care.